Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Vermilion City Council public hearing and regular meeting. We're going to start off with the public hearing, and we're going to do one roll call for both meetings tonight. So, Gwen, go ahead.
Pat West, Ward 1. Here. Greg Drew, Ward 2. Who's absent? Drew Worley, Ward 3.
Present.
Jeff Lucas, Ward 4.
Present.
Brian Holmes, Ward 5.
Here.
Gary Howe, at large.
Present.
Steve Heron, President of Council.
Here.
Mayor Forkover.
I am here.
Amy Hendrick, Finance Director. Present. Tony Valeria, Service Director.
Here.
Chris Howard, City Engineer.
Here.
Susan, our Law Director, is absent. I believe we have a replacement.
Yes, we are supposed to have a replacement. All right, so the next item on the public hearing agenda, there's actually three matters before Council. The Vermilion City Council is in receipt of new and renewal applications for placement of farmland in an agricultural district in the city of Vermilion in the county of Lorraine 4. First property is Thomas C. Palmer, total acres 19.37. The location of the property is 2010 Cooper Foster Road. Anybody like to come up and provide open discussion regarding this matter?
That's a new application.
It's a new one, okay, thank you. Okay, the next one is Ronald and Judith Bauman, trustee, total acres 51.75, location of property Jerusalem Road and Cooper Foster Park Road. Anybody like to come up and provide discussion regarding that parcel?
And that's a renewal application.
Thank you. The next one is Jake's Parks LLC, Patricia Lato, agent Charles Lato, total acres 107.93, location of property rear land of Klaus Road and North Ridge Road. Anybody like to come up and provide open discussion regarding that particular parcel of property? That's a renewal. Thank you. All right, so we'll now go into our Vermilion City Council meeting. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of reflection or silent prayer.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have a motion to approve the special Vermilion City Council meeting minutes of March 10th of 2025?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Glenn?
Holmes,
Yes.
Lucas,
Yes.
Worley,
Yes.
Hess, Howe,
Yes.
Heron.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is open to the audience. We do have 8 individuals who have signed up to provide comments in the order that they're signed up. We'll begin with Elizabeth McKinney of Fairfax Road.
Good evening. I am Elizabeth McKinney, and I've lived in Vermilion for 62 years, 64 years actually. I'm hearing about the sewer system that's being replaced in Vermilion on the lake. I understand it needs to be replaced, but I'm here to find out how much of an assessment or an abasement or whatever that they can come on your property. Because I did not know they were gonna come as far as they did. They destroyed the flowers that my mother built there. She's passed away in 2015. It can't be replaced. Had I known they were coming that far, we could have got out there and dug them up, but saved them. So I would like to know how far back on the property they're allowed to come. I called the mayor's office. They told me the city director would be calling me. I'm waiting still. This was a week ago. So my question is this. Do I have to take care of that property? Do I have to mow it after you guys have destroyed this property now? I'm not saying you. I went out there and I was talking to the gentlemen. They were really nice. I will give you guys credit for having a nice group of guys working there. They apologized. They said that you should have known. So that's when I called the mayor's office. They said they put something in the newspaper, in the journal. I don't read the photojournal. I'm not gonna pay to get news about my town. It's something on Facebook. I looked on there, I couldn't find it anywhere. I said, text messaging. I'm not signing up for your text messaging. I did it before and I got too many daggone messages of garbage that wasn't important to me. Next thing, and I said, did you send a letter out in the mail, the US Postal, to my house? No. It's too, we didn't do that. Did you put a letter on my door? You managed to get my water bill every month. You drive down the street in your truck and take the things. Why can't you stop? Put a letter on the door. Nobody in my area that I talked to, and I talked to everybody on my street practically, got a letter of anything saying how far they were going to come back. Now, I understand it had to be done, and I understand that the city approved it and all these great things. It's the point that nobody bothered to tell me, to tell us how far you're coming back. If I would have known, and I need to know, do I need to take care of that out by the road now? Because my mom built a brick wall there. They tried everything they could do to save this. It's not happening. The flowers cannot be replaced. The vines that had grown for over 40 some years are gone. So my question is, how do I find this information out? Maybe you can tell me, do I have to mow? Do I have to take care of that property? Because if they can come in and destroy everything I do, then I'm not gonna mow it anymore. The city of Vermilion can pay for it. You can send your little mowers down there and mow it down, as far as I'm concerned. You don't bother the people behind me that have bamboo growing, because it's not out by the road. This is what I want to stand here and what I wanted to address you on. Does anybody have an answer? How far back?
If you don't mind, let me, we have three, I've written down three specific questions you have, and a few more minutes if you wish to speak, but, and I was gonna, before you left the podium, I was gonna read those. The city is gonna be obligated to respond. Either they can do it tonight to some of them, but they will have to come back at the next regular meeting and provide that information. You can get that out if you don't wanna come back personally, or you're going out of, okay, that's fine. If you're going out, you can get the information on the minutes, okay? But in answer to your question, yes, there will be an answer. I do, go ahead.
I can call Mr. McKinney tomorrow.
Okay, that'd be fine, but there's a matter of record, of course, our charter.
Sure.
That's it, so, go ahead though, okay?
So, do you know, does anybody know if there was any letters mailed out or put out? Let me ask you that.
There were no letters sent out.
Okay. So how in the world are we supposed to know as citizens what's going on? That's my question. I understand, I read the mayor's notes about what's going on uptown. I read all those things, that's what's going on. Guys, come on. Us old people don't like all this new technology. Some of us like paper, pencil in the hand. That's all I'm asking, is I was notified and I wasn't. Okay, that's it. I'm done. I just wanted to say thank you for listening. I appreciate your
Well,
time.
can you hold on one second?
Absolutely.
These are the questions that I took from what you asked. How far are the staff allowed to come into the property to do work? That was your first question, right?
Yeah, how
Is
far,
there just, okay,
how far do you guys have assessment, or what, I think they
The
call it
right of way.
assessment.
okay.
Right away.
And
That's it, right away.
do I now have to take care of the property, mow, keep up the property? And the third one is, to what extent is the city responsible for the cost of replacing the, I'm gonna write vegetation, because you listed a lot of things that were there, so.
Well, I know the city's gonna replant things, because I was told that.
Well, you have, I
So
mean, you
it's-
have a unique set of plants that were there.
Oh, yeah, they can't
So-
be replaced.
So I'm gonna ask the administration to come back with an answer for that,
Yeah,
okay?
I mean, those can't, if it wasn't because it was my mom's, and she planted them, believe me, I'm not one for yard work. Believe me. But those, every time I looked at them, I thought of her.
Right.
That's the house that I own. I grew up in it. I went to school here my whole life. I just need some help to find out. Because I really think it's ridiculous that they can come, I mean, oh my, and the guys were really nice. I really lost it on them, and I apologized to them, but that didn't take care of, had I known is the whole thing.
Yeah.
The
That's a
city
very-
should have notified us all by mail. Letter on the door, in the mailbox. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. McKim.
Next person is Helen Taft of Edgewater.
I am Helen Taft, 3972 Edgewater. I addressed you folks at the last council meeting, I believe. And it was in regards to variances. And when a property owner wants variance, it's difficult for me, and as I found out, some of you, to what does that mean, that variance? Especially if it's on a lot that's going to be split or an empty lot. So, once again, I'm asking for some sort of physical marking. I don't think the city should be responsible for this. I think it should be the onus of the homeowner asking for the variance. Anybody recall that?
Yes.
So, what are we gonna do?
The law director is not here. We expect a person coming in, and I will speak to that person. I
Okay.
don't know why the associate is not here to address some other issues, but I believe that the law director was going to respond or had some information. But if I can just be clear, your question involves, if somebody's asking for a variance on their property,
Right.
their job is to put down the markers or some
Yeah,
indication
so
when
we
you
can
go
see,
by and look
right.
at it, say, that's the variance, that's what we're looking at, as
Right.
opposed to just putting it on a piece of paper, you can't.
Yeah,
Figure
I
out what the heck
understand
it
we
is.
get a letter, a sign goes out saying, this will go, to a meeting, but that doesn't help me.
You want the square staked
I
out.
wanna see where that is. One of my concerns is, a house just west of Chelsea Park. Now, they've applied for variances. I was not able to attend any of that because of healthcare situation in my family. So I don't know what variances were granted for that. And that's the entrance to the park, entrance exit. So it would be nice to know how much did they want to infringe, so. That's all I'm asking is some kind of physical marking so we can see what's going on.
So, how relevant is it though if it's a shed issue or whatever, it's in the backside of the property, you wouldn't be able to see it anyway?
I'm not sure it would be to me unless I lived behind that house. So that would be a problem for them, perhaps. Maybe you will all decide that everything doesn't need to be marked out.
Anything forward of the home or something of that nature?
And we get homes, lot splits, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, where did this come from? Didn't go to the zoning meeting, so that's where it came from.
Give us a minute after the meeting, is that okay?
Pardon me?
Can you give us a minute after the meeting to discuss that?
Okay,
Will you be here after the meeting?
I believe I will.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, and one other thing.
Yep.
I'm so sorry about your mother's flowers. And anything I can do, if I live in VOL, I will be glad to help you with your flower garden. I appreciate it. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next person is Homer Taft, Edgewater.
If it's okay to council, since you have 8 folks, if you want to let others go first, and if there's some time at the end, I'll try and be brief.
It'll be fine, okay. We'll put a check mark next to your names. And I'm sure you'll remind me of that. Okay, next person is Alec Bonowitz on Brown Elm Station Road.
Mr. Herron, I
Yep.
pass at this time
Okay,
and proceed to the next person.
okay. Next person is Marilyn Brill. of
My
Cooper
name is
Foster.
Marilyn Brew, and I live at 1745 Cooper Foster Park Road. There is some development going on the other side of my road. It's where the Clark filling station is going to be. Is everybody aware of that? It's on Bumhart Road, but it's directly,
The
you're
gas
aware of
station.
it, right?
Yeah.
My question, and probably I should be addressing the planning commission, but, will that gentleman have to put in some type of a commercial septic system? Because there's no infrastructure at that site. He's cleared the property, he's brush hogged, I mean, as soon as he got an okay from planning commission, and I was at that meeting, he was there on that property with all kinds of equipment, taking down everything, including the state of Ohio fencing along Route 2. So we were quite concerned that he's just gonna come in and do what he wants. Well, he's not done anything since then. I think he took his approval to the bank to find out what he could do. So, but a commercial septic system is a pretty high-priced thing. Thinking that the 6119 is gonna come down that road eventually. I mean, it may take 5, 10 years, right? We don't know, right? Nobody knows. I mean, that's been in the works for a long time. I just wonder, is that what he's gonna have to do? Does anybody know? Chris, do you know?
If it's okay with the council president.
Go ahead, yes.
Ms. Brill, there has been no plan submitted for that site as of yet.
Right, I followed planning commission, he's not come back, right?
But what you surmise as being the brand of gas sold, and the other things, really hasn't been tendered to the city yet as far as a public recognized plan. Whoever goes there for now will certainly have to put in their own septic system, you're correct about that.
Right. Mr. Howard?
Council, can I talk?
Yes, sir.
So they only have preliminary plan approval. They have to come back for final plan approval.
Okay.
They are gonna have to install a on-site septic treatment plant. That is a requirement.
Okay.
So that's on them. We have heard nothing since they came to plan commission, other than they did some clearing.
Right, and the deed restrictions that are abutting that property will have to be followed to a T.
Oh yeah, we put that in the letter, said everything that's in those, that agreement has to be followed.
Right,
That was the first thing we did, right, and send them
Oh, yeah.
a copy of the deed restriction.
good. Well, I'm glad somebody's watching this, because if you don't watch it, all of a sudden it's there and they're doing what they wanna do. And if he's gonna put a Hardee's drive-through, I was here when he spoke and he said, not at this time.
Right.
And to me, that's almost like iffy, right? Anyway, thank you for your time. I will watch the planning commission meetings because I feel us neighbors have to watch our properties.
Yeah, you should.
Right.
We're glad you come.
Huh?
We're glad that you come.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brill. Okay, our next person is Paul Safer on West River Road.
Or say from 1100 West River Road.
Can you come
Can you
up
come
and
up here,
speak in the,
sir?
can you speak up at the podium? Are you able to walk up?
I don't think it's really important what I'm gonna say. I'm here as a support for Marsha Jones. I live on a Birchview, and that is so destroyed for all these years. It's you can play on a radio, shake, rattle, and roll. It's because it's such a bad, and I'm kind of unhappy it was not included in all this good work you're doing all around the view. But that Birchview also needs some help. If you can look into it.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Marcia?
Hello, I'm Marcia Jonas, and I reside at 1347 Birchview. It's a home that I purchased back in '96, so I've owned it close to 30 years. I'm only just now returned to it as my place of residence, having lived in Kentucky for 25 years. So I have a better feel for what's going on with that street. And here recently, I took it upon myself to talk to just about every resident on that street that was available to speak with. I'm actually surprised they're not here tonight, because I was given assurances from a lot of them that they would be, but that's neither here nor there. I guess it's on me. Okay, my two primary concerns about that street is safety concerns and then protection of property, both homes and the vehicles. Safety concerns being the citizens and the visitors, and then our homes I have it broken down here, and I can give credence to each of my concerns in all areas. First of all, in talking with the different residents of that street, they brought up things that I wasn't even privy to. So I'm going to share some of the things that they brought to my attention. One individual, actually two individuals, told me that they have sought the city's help or for them to listen to the problem and address the issues of getting the streets fixed properly, the street rather. And they were, this one individual said, it may have been two, that they were told that it was not a concern of the city's because it was not a through street. So that prompted me to look into what exactly is a through street. And I'll read the definition for you what a through street is. A through street is a street where the primary flow of traffic is given priority, meaning vehicles on the street have the right of way at intersections, and vehicles entering or crossing it are required to yield or stop. Okay, so if you look at the intersection of Birchview and Hollyview, which is towards the one end of Birchview, we are not required to stop. Hollyview, even though it would give the appearance that Hollyview is the through street because it is so lengthy, it is not. We pass through all the way to the intersection of West River and Birchview. Okay, so we are the through street, and a lot of the people that come down our street are not only residents, but they're also family and friends going directly to that street, but they're also people that are driving from, say, Route 60 or the high school or that general area to get to Hollyview. And I know this because I have a mom that lives on Hollyview, and that was the route we always took when I wasn't living there, and my siblings. And then I know some of the citizens that live over there, and they also take that route. So it's, and a lot of them are no longer taking this route because they are avoiding the street because it's so bad. They are going out of their way. I myself, I live on the street, and I try to calculate which is going to be the least wear and tear when I pull out of my driveway, turning to the right or turning to the left. And when I return home, say from Route 60, I drive through down Sailor Way, pick up Sanford, take it out to, I don't know what the name of that street is, Langford maybe, out to West River, down to Birchview. I'm trying to hit all the good streets and then hit my street the last, so that I'm not doing undue wear and tear on my vehicle that I want to last a long time. The economy's not the best, and I don't want to be turning around buying new tires, buying new this, buying new that, or even a new vehicle just because the street is so poorly maintained. Okay, so, oh, and I wanted to add too, there are people that I know for a fact are driving down that street to get to the other areas, say Hollyview, that are, say with delivery drivers and such, they don't maybe know to avoid it, and so they're forced to have to contend with that street. And does their impression of that street make it outside of the city? That's not good. And I know that they're being sent down that way if they're using MapQuest, because sometimes when I'm returning from a place, I put in home as my destination, and I just let it play. I just ignore it. Or I'll put my mom's address, which is the street behind if I want to swing by her house on my way home. And it will invariably take me down my street to her house. So MapQuest is sending people that, unbeknownst to them, they're in for the ride, that's for sure. I wanted to compare, from my understanding, the streets that are up for review, or maybe they're even taking it a step further than the review process. I know Pineview is getting the sidewalks right now, but I think that they are also slated to get a new street and Brownham Township, and also it's my understanding that the last remaining section that was not done on Hollyview is also under consideration, that being potentially not with government grants. And I'm thinking maybe we should edge in ahead of that, because I drove all around, yes, Brownham Township's road, that street is deplorable, but they have a higher speed limit. So you're gonna feel how bad that is, and you won't feel it as bad when you slow down than our street. As far as Hollyview, they have sidewalks. We're forced to walk in the street because we don't have sidewalks. So our vehicles have to contend with how bad the street is, but then anybody on foot also has to contend with that. And we have children on the street that are just starting school. It's a matter of time before, I believe, the bus pickup is just to the right or to the left of them. And if they choose to walk, they're gonna have to deal with it. I saw the neighbor lady pushing her new baby. The baby's like 9 months old. First nice days of this year, down our street. And I thought, man, you're a gutsy woman to be tackling this, because I've injured myself on the street. And we'll get into that in a minute. But, and then we have elderly people, and I'm gonna keep myself out of that mix for now, although I understand I'm right there on the border, but walking for exercise, and I do walk my dogs down the street. And that's how I got injured, because of all the potholes that you can't see because of standing water, because of the poor patch jobs, that the water can't even drain to the storm sewer drains, because it's patch job on the patch job on top of patch job, mounding, and the water sits between these two mountains, can't possibly get to the drain. And this is consistently up and down the street. And if you go to walk an animal and it's dark, and that's another problem with it, there's no street light between, I'm at 1347, 1327 I think is the closest street light, which is relatively close, but then down at the other end of the street is the next street light. So if you don't have neighbors that are wanting to don some sort of lights on their property, you're in the dark. If you happen to choose to walk in the evening, and what are you gonna do in the wintertime anyways? And the same with the drainage freezing in the wintertime. That's a concern because, again, the water can't get to the storm drains. And then also, we have some homes that dump right into the street, their sump pumps, push it right out through, I want to say there's some sort of flex drain line, comes right out of the curb, and we literally, and Drew can attest to this, he came out and looked at it, and my other neighbor, he said, when we were discussing our conversation of it being an inch thick, he said, I've seen it 4 inches thick. That's not good for somebody wanting to drive down that street. That's not good for somebody wanting to walk down that street. If you're elderly and you fall, that could be the end of your life. But anyways, let me get back on track here. The issue with why I think we should take precedence over a number of the streets that I guess I'm going to have to focus on Hollyview, if my understanding is correct, that is up for consideration. Once again, they have sidewalks. So you have sidewalks in a bad street, and then you have our situation, no sidewalks in a bad street. And then in looking at all the other streets in Valley View, and most of the city, they have sidewalks, or they have no sidewalks in a good street. There's only really 2 streets that I can conjure up where there is, and there may be a couple more, but no sidewalks, bad street. And if I want to address the difference between Timberview and Birchview, Timberview does have some bad sections, but their biggest problem is the bucking horse thing, which you don't feel when you're walking, and you're not going to get injured dealing with that situation when you're walking. So at least that's one plus that they have. I'd take the bucking horse over what we got. Okay, I've also been told by other residents, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the repairs went from halfway decent repairs to, over the years, now they just spray some tar in it, throw some stones in it, and we have to drive over it to mush it down, flatten it out. They don't even do, I guess there's a way to do it where they stick around and they make sure that it's level with the street and that. They don't, they just leave and leave it to us.
We do have a time limit, and I've certainly allowed you to go over it because you're speaking for so many people and using Mr. Safer's time. you could wrap it up in another
Okay.
minute, I'd appreciate it, thank you.
Alrighty. I just wanted to add that also, I was told there's creeping occurring with the streets and pushing our driveways up into our homes. And I've discussed the drain sewer problem, and I'm looking to, out of my own money, tie into it somehow. And then lastly, I wanna add, it's bad when, well, I guess I can't get into all that. When you have a policeman tell you that he doesn't even drive down your street because it's that bad. Yeah. So, okay, and I'll leave it with that. If you,
Thank you.
do you wanna comment on any of that for me while I'm here tonight?
I don't have a comment other than to say I agree 100% with you that I will not drive on that street unless I have to. And
Pretty
that
bad.
is, the condition of several other our streets.
Now, is Hollyview under consideration? Am I correct in that?
To my knowledge, we have already made the decision for the, you mentioned them both, Pine View and Brown Elm Station. Those are the two streets that were.
But that's grant money, correct?
No, that's our money.
That's all right.
Mhm. But I just want you to know, all I can
How
tell
are
you
we
is-
always getting 61 years, getting pushed to the 61
Number
years?
of
I know this because I'm 61. That's when that road was
I know what you're
made.
talking about, I understand.
So I'll come back at every meeting until maybe we can get this
Thank
done.
you. Thank
Just real
you.
quick, Ms. Jones, did you have something written out that you could give to the clerk and?
Just my notes.
Okay,
Okay, we got it done.
all right, all right, thank you.
Oh, is this recorded, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right, thank you.
It's never going away.
Good.
Gene Anderson, Edgewater?
Jean Anderson, 3240 Edgewater Drive. Just kind of a quick question. I see they're clearing the property on Liberty that is kind of across from Germans. That was under consideration for the storage units. And I'd like to know if there's any update on anything going in there.
If you're prepared to respond tonight, that's fine.
Ms. Anderson, there is no application at this time for anything, they can clear their land if they want.
Well, I also understand that they should be obligated to cut the grass on the property as well, so it doesn't, I'm thinking that that could be part of what's going on, but very curious. Thank you.
Can I mention, Metro Parks are doing clearing.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The Metro Parks are doing some work on it. Orange County Metro Parks is doing
Okay.
some work on it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
One more time.
Thank you, Homer Taft, 3972 Edgewater still. You have two things on your agenda tonight, 27 and 28, with respect to the purchase of a truck, Bobby, for the police department, marked as an emergency. I'm assuming it's not going to be voted tonight, but I have looked at the ordinances, and I don't see any information in the ordinances to where the funds are to come from. And I assume that means it would come from the general fund, and I speak in opposition to that, as I have at previous meetings, that it should come from the water fund, not to be used to just spend down the general fund, so we say we don't have it. At the last, excuse me, not the last, at the first meeting in March, I made a number of requests in writing, and I have more tonight if anybody needs them, principally of the finance director and the service director. And I just want to mention that I realize there are several, and they relate to the meter fund and the sewer fund and the water fund and how many streets we have and so forth. And they may not all be answerable in a minute, but I'd hope that they could start being answered soon. I do have to make the council aware of one other public record request. I requested a couple of weeks back, 10, 12 days ago, whatever, the opportunity to come in and inspect the minute books of this council. Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code requires that all of those minutes forever be kept and be kept available for public inspection. The clerk of council referred the issue to the law director, who responded that requesting the records from 1997 to 2010 that were the minutes of council was vague and too broad. There is no restriction in law how broad it is. It can be every single one back to the beginning of time in 1959 or 60 when the city was formed. And it isn't vague, it's every minute. I want to go read them. I didn't say I want a copy, I said I wanted to read them. In full disclosure, the law director offered me a flash drive, which I responded to, of income tax ordinances, and that's lovely, but that's not what I asked for. I'll be happy to take that part of it, but I want to read the minutes. Since I have been denied, I'm obliged to tell you, and I would mention too, that Article 3 of the Charter, Section 7 also requires that these things be available for public inspection at all times, or our property. So unfortunately, some of you are probably about to become defendants in a lawsuit, and I apologize. That wasn't my intention, wasn't my wish, but I want to see the minutes. So I hope that in the future, when people make requests to see their records, whether they're records of this council or its committees, or whether it's boards and commissions, or whether it's other records of the city, that they're better accommodated than they have been recently. Thank you.
You have with us tonight an attorney from the firm, correct, Law Director?
Yes, I am Lisa Mack. I am filling in this evening for Susan Anderson.
I believe you looked at those requests that Mr. Taft has talked about.
I am aware of the
Aware of them?
requests,
Okay.
and I am aware that Ms. Anderson is responding to those requests.
Okay, thank you very much. So we don't have a response from the administration tonight. So, okay, with response to the audience, does the administration have any response to any of the previous questions?
I do, Council President.
Thank you.
I have met the requirement that we respond at the next regular meeting. We are not outside of that scope.
Okay, very well.
in response,
Okay,
but
thank you.
Want to keep this brief, based on my response to the March 3rd meeting, with the comments from Mr. Taft, to keep that as brief as possible. The majority of them are available on our website or have been previously provided. To address his narrative labeled statement to Ms. Hendricks, I simply will say that I will let the city's audit reports and awards, Moody's ratings and reviews, State of Ohio financial health indicators, and overall fiscal condition and quality and quantity of operational and capital upgrades completed since 2018 speak for themselves. I do, however, have a couple of points that I can't let rest. Specifically, in Mr. Taft's increasing claims that the proceeds from the last change of the income tax forgiveness are dedicated, and that these dollars could be eliminated from the streets fund and be replaced with sources such as the general fund, stating dollars are dollars. It feels more like what Mr. Taft is proposing are dominoes, as he continues to claim that revenue can be eliminated from the roads fund or any other fund, then replaced by the general fund. But no matter how you look at it, now you're short that money in the general fund. By the time it all filters out in this dollars are dollars claim, even if you include such things as real estate tax growth, you may break even very, very briefly. But you have nothing to cover increasing operating costs, continue to catch up on streets that need paved, an endless list, and equipment and facilities that continue to need to be maintained. So yes, dollars are dollars, but you can only spend them once. And Vermilion citizens deserve better than dominoes are dominoes. Progress will halt, and citizens will be asked for even more if in the sight of this short-sighted scenario. As just an example, ordinance 2025-12 that is on for a third reading this evening about a change in the forgiveness tax will actually leave a shortfall of $1.1 million by the end of 2026 if that's enacted. Now to end the accusations about false statements against me once and for all. Despite Mr. Taft boldly claiming that he had all the ordinances, I encourage him to check ordinance 2016-61 dated November 21st, 2016 regarding the change in the income tax forgiveness, and I quote, "Tax due under this ordinance and providing that all revenue generated by such additional tax be used for the sole purpose of paying for streets and improvements and repairs," end quote. Now, there is a full page of additional questions on various subjects, and I will provide guidance for those that have information already on the city's website, minutes, reports to council, other such documents, and then provide the detail of those which are not. The first topic was sewer fund. Items 1 and 3 are available on the city's webpage. Item 2 addressed the township sewer revenue for 2022 through an estimated 2025. 2022 revenue, $215,000. 23, $258,000. 24, $260,000. And estimate for 2025 is $263,000. The water fund, item D on the list, all of those items are on the webpage in various forms. And also, Mr. Taft appears to be concerned about the carryover in the water fund. Before we give that away too, there are 2 large water line projects that need to be bid, along with the SCADA system upgrade that's required that could easily reach $400,000 just on its own. Meter replacements, item E. Item 1 was referred to the water department. Item 3 is a yes, and the remainder are all on the webpage. Income tax receipts. 2024, the 2013 change in forgiveness brought in $1.1 million. The 2017 change brought in $607,220. Item 2, I contacted Rita on 3/12 to see if they had some additional demographic type of information. As was being asked for, they contacted me on the 24th, and I have since received some of that data, but have not had the opportunity to review it with other projects that were going on. The net profit taxes collected in 24 were $313,395. The answer to item 3 is no. G, 1 mil of property tax brings in, at the current level, $446,556. Under the item, the same item as the property taxes, items H through I are all included in great detail in the most recent place, the January 13th, 2025 minutes. Also, item J asked what the difference was between permissive funds and the general fund. Permissive funds are part of a fee paid with vehicle registrations, and is distributed to local governments through the state, and is restricted to the use of road, bridge, and transportation-related expenses. And that completes my report.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that response.
Question.
No, no.
And Tony had some sections.
Oh, you had a response? Okay.
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
Mr. Taft also had a few questions for the service director. A, how many water accounts or meters within the city? There's 5,030 inside the city. There's 619 outside the city. How many are residential and how many are commercial? There are 5,276 residential accounts, 343 commercial accounts, and there are 30 city meters. How many lane miles of streets are there? There's 78.56 miles of roads. How many are residential non-thoroughfares? 28.91 miles. How many miles of water line in the city? 64.222. And how many miles of sanitary sewer in the city? 52.67. And that concludes my response.
Thank you. All right, so our next item on the agenda is going to be correspondence. Bear with me. I have an okay voice, but I'm not getting any younger. Dear Ms. Fisher, it is firmly requested this letter be read openly to council in the next session and maintained as a matter of public record. Greetings. Apathy, a lack of interest, enthusiasm, or concern. My name is Donald Helbig. I came to reside on Idleby Drive in June of 2007. Many residents in this neighborhood have much longer tenancy. Although small in stature, Vermilion has a unique and appealing flavor unrivaled by its mundane southern neighbors such as Amherst or Elyria. That appeal is its natural resource not found much elsewhere in Ohio. It's called Lake Erie. Beautiful summer sunrises and sunsets, cool summer breezes. There are marinas, a beach line, and quaint shops. The town used to boast of an original maritime museum on the beachfront, but that is another story. Cedar Point to the west and the entertainment hub of Cleveland with its rock Hall of Fame, sports venues, and casinos to the east. Vermilion is a wonderful choice for tourism, as the crowded summer sidewalks on Liberty Avenue will attest. Oh, and let us not forget the Woolly Bear Festival. Its annual celebration of the fuzzy creature draws a multitude of folks for a good time on an annual basis. Thank you, Mr. Goddard. There's also something ugly in Vermilion, something deep like a cancer that festers with no cure. It's called City Council. I can account for 31 years of neglect by this less than honorable body that is supposedly elected to conduct the will of its denizens. I do not understand. Idleby Drive is a very small street, perhaps one of the smallest in Vermilion. It is also one of the most neglected and has been for the last 31 years. It is my home. One could almost throw a rock its distance from Forest View to the cul-de-sac on the west end of the street. In Elyria, there is a street near Cascade Park called Nichols Court. It consists of only 2 elderly homes on the north side of the street, of the short street, and 1 home located rearward to the south. I doubt that street sees much traffic. That fact has not affected the city planners. It is freshly paved. In Dayton, the alleyway for trash collection and rear entrance for parking only is freshly paved. Interesting. Yet in Vermilion, City Council is applauding and congratulating itself for a job well done to secure a grant for sidewalk replacements north of me. Why has not council sought to improve the quality of life on Idleby Drive after 31 years? Why are these residents being denigrated to the rate of non-important second-class citizens, I wonder? Last summer, Idleby experienced 3 water main breaks. When a fire broke out, the 31-year unmaintained infrastructure could not handle the emergency water demand and poured water into the decadent roadway. My city council at work, I see. The city contracted a crew to repair the water main next to my home. In so doing, it cracked the sidewalk in front of my house and no one has corrected it. Across from my home, the sidewalk has a 4-inch drop between panels. But I'm sure that is not important to city council as only on idle view, and you are too busy to become enthusiastic about the non-citizens who live there. Certainly the street, or what is left of it, looks comparable to a lunar landscape. Visitors complain about the horrid condition and treatment to their vehicles when they traverse. I have contacts that do not like to visit my nice home for that very reason. So I ponder, why is it that if I didn't cut my lawn all summer or temporarily parked a vehicle with no active registration on my property, true story, that the city would actively pursue me to resolve that issue or face consequences? Yet if council in its less than wisdom can actively and willfully destroy my vehicle's suspension at my expense, lower my home's equity, curb appeal, and social quality as life through their obvious incompetence, and make me dodge craters on my Harley Davidson as I carefully drive over my disintegrated and non-existent aproned curb without consequence. Gentlemen, the chickens are coming home to roost after 31 years of neglect. With a $5 million surplus and the council's desire to return it to the people, I regret to inform you that the best way to accomplish that desire is fix the street. The opening of this letter gave the definition of apathy. Council has no interest, enthusiasm, or concern for the residents of Idleby Drive, and I respectfully ask for the resignation of all members, effective immediately. Heed the clarion call, gentlemen. The council is not absolute. There should be a way to improve its financial ability and return such authority to where it would serve the citizens better. City administration has its fingers on the people's pulse and is enthusiastic, interested, and concerned, unlike the lethargic members of the Good Old Boys Club. It is a mistake for council members to think they have done a good job. How is absence of effort qualify for doing a good job? In closing, I would like to mention that the country has now instituted a department called DOGE, the elimination of waste and fraud being its focus. In that spirit, I have reached out to certain news media to investigate this council and its lack of interest, enthusiasm, and concern over the past 31 years. Facebook postings and petitions are also on the table. Need I say more? I remain Donald Helbig, IW Drive. All right, do we have any other correspondence? Okay, I do not have a report. President Council will go on our committee reports. Councilman Lucas.
Okay, I'm gonna start in reverse order. Stormwater Advisory, no meeting in April, no report, no meeting planned. Planning Commission, no meeting in April, next meeting May 7th at 7 p.m. Historic Design met on April 2nd, and there were 4 applicants, very similar requests to the past few months: roofing, doors, windows, siding, and landscape. All of those applicants' motions were approved. The full details of the meeting minutes are on the city website. Their next meeting is on May 7th at 6 p.m. And then lastly, Finance Committee did meet on March 10th, and several topics were covered. One was the appropriations updates for 2025, the audit, which was an ongoing process at that time. That was as of March 10th. So I'll be interested to see where those have completed and what the results were, if available. The 2025 insurance review came through, and no surprise, there was an increase of about 14% with respect to the cost. But one of the highlights, though, was the fact that the current insurance company, the company's compensation did not increase commensurate with the cost of the insurance, hence why they had switched to that company. And then lastly, there was a 2025 budget summary. You can see all the details on the city website. Their next meeting will be on April the 14th at 6 p.m. And that will conclude all 4 reports.
Any questions or comments for Councilman Lucas? Going out to Councilman Holmes.
Thank you, Council President.
The health and safety meeting, Chief Brown went over the fire report, and Captain Green went over the police chief's report. Full minutes can be found on the city website.
Thank you, Mr. Worley. I apologize, I forgot. We'll go to Mr. Worley. Do you have a?
I do not have a report for the tree commission. Next meeting will be Tuesday at 9:30.
Thank you. Councilman Howell.
Thank you, Council President. Legislative met on March 10th. Several topics on the agenda, one being the review of ordinance 2025-8, the Erie Soil and Water Conservation District MS4 program, along with the review of ordinance 2025-12, reestablishing the full 1% tax credit. It's on the agenda tonight, actually to be voted on. And finally, the review of ordinance 2025-3, the Lorraine County Comprehensive Safety Action Plan. The total minutes are on the website, and they can be viewed there. Next meeting is next Monday. And I'll move on to Parks and Recs. Parks and Recs met on March 18th here in this building. There's a multitude of things they talked about. It was mostly getting ready for the summer with the pool and such, but you can read the full minutes on the website, and we'll meet again here on April 15th at 6 o'clock in this building. That'll conclude my report.
Thank you, Mr. Howell. Any questions or comments? Mr. Howell, all right, thank you. So we got Port Authority Port Authority met on March 20th. There was quite a bit of discussion. The first round of discussion involved options for fundraising, and a number of options were brought up. Nothing was decided, but there was a very good discussion, and citizen Mr. Bill Everett came in and had some very good suggestions as well. Financial review was given by Mr. Bias, who I believe is doing an excellent job, by the way, as operations manager. Gave us information. The balance at this point in time is in the special revenue fund is $57,556.66. He went on and gave more detail about the budget. Activity report regarding waterworks and the Barbies. tree grant exchange, were all gone over. One motion was made, there's quite a few actions taken. North Coast Golf was involved, is going to be involved in the planer installation. That was approved. Stein Contracting for to rebuild some planters and reset some caps. That was approved. Buckeye Electrical Solutions for the light fixtures. That was approved, not to exceed $5,900. Approved the donation from Vermilion and Bloom for tree planting. And let's see here, roof on the mechanical building, that was discussed. The motion was made and carried to approve a color scheme that was submitted by Tom Bodie. And so that the color scheme was approved. It doesn't have an amount of money that was attached to that. And the next meeting will be the 10th, correct? Yes, the 10th, this Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Streets, Buildings, and Grounds met on March 10th. Quite a bit of discussion on the streets building, as there is pretty much every year regarding that matter. Appreciate all of council's very substantive and civil discussion regarding the streets. As most people know, Pineview was approved. Brownham Station was approved, and then some more discussion came up. But those were the two matters that were approved by that committee. Does anybody have any questions or comments for me regarding those two committee meetings? Next one will be next Monday, next Streets, Buildings, and Grounds, next Monday, March 14th. No, 7th. No, April 14th. I apologize. Thank you. Okay, we'll now go to Councilwoman West.
No meeting to report on, but the next meeting will be May 1st.
Thank you.
5 o'clock.
All right, thank you. We'll go to the Mayor Safety Director's report. Mayor Porto.
Thank you, Council President. I wanted to follow up on a couple of things. One is the do not knock registry. Just a couple of housekeeping items with the administration. In a previous report to Council, I had mentioned that the Administrative Assistant Jody Booker had moved the do not knock registry from the Vermilion Police Department dispatchers to City Hall administration, and she handles it under her job title. This is with the approval of Chief Hartung. The purpose was to relieve the dispatchers of a clerical chore and allow them to focus more on the important job of responding to 911 calls. Ms. Booker established a system where those who do not want solicitors to knock can get the application process totally online instead of coming to the VPD or to City Hall. Through newsletters and website information, more Vermilion households have been made aware of the registry. And since being moved to the City Hall online, the Do Not Knock registry has grown from 21 in February to 544 city households requesting privacy. That's as of today. Additionally, solicitors can now apply for permits online. Ms. Booker sends the applications to the VPD for background checks on those solicitors and then issues the approved permits. A list of approved solicitors is also on the city website. Solicitors are given text updates of who is on the Do Not Knock list and expected to respect that. With spring here, the solicitors are out in force. And this streamlined system may help those who do not welcome solicitors. And the dispatchers can now do their job with a little less distraction. I also want to mention that Shred Day, of which I have a lot to be shredded at home, is May 10, thanks to the Lorain County Solid Waste Management and Lorain County Commissioners. It is from 9:30 to 12 noon at the ENR Church parking lot. Some volunteers and a few people from City Hall, including yours truly, will be there to help transfer your shreddables from your vehicle to the truck. Please enter on Ohio Street. Keeps the traffic flow the way it's supposed to be. And lastly, a CHIP grant. I encourage council to pass Resolution 2025R-5. This is a CHIP grant that could provide big benefits to some people in our community who really need help with their properties. And that concludes my report, Council President.
Mr. Mayor, is it your request that we pass that on first reading tonight, the CHIP grant resolution?
It doesn't need to be, actually, but when it comes around, I hope it is passed.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for the mayor tonight? All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'll go to Service Director's report, Mr. Blair.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to mention to citizens on the west side of the river that the distribution department will begin flushing hydrants in the next couple of weeks. Please be aware that at times you may experience low water pressure or a slight discoloration. If so, we ask that you run the water until it clears before drinking or doing laundry. Flushing will continue into May. I'm happy to report that after nearly 2 years, the new international plow truck arrived at the shop last week, which allows us to retire our oldest truck, a 2002, which leads me to my next discussion. On the agenda tonight are ordinances 2025-25 through 28. These ordinances pertain to the requested new trucks for the street department, a new plow truck, and the distribution department, a new dump truck. I recently spoke with the salesman from Rush Truck, who provides the chassis, and he stated that currently a chassis averages 4 to 5 months to be made. But the Henderson rep told us to expect a year for outfitting the snow and ice package to the plow truck. Also, Rush Truck recently added a $3,900 tariff surcharge to both chassis, and he said that additional tariff charges may be coming in the future. With that said, I ask council to consider suspending the rules and passing ordinances 2025-25 through 28 by emergency, so that we not only receive the trucks sooner, but also avoid the possibility of additional tariff charges that may be added. Lastly, as a side note to follow up my response to the audience from March regarding the purchase of road salt, last Thursday afternoon, after the agenda had already been finalized, I received the anticipated email from the Ohio Department of Transportation requesting participation in the 2025-26 road salt contract. The city has until May 2nd at 5 o'clock to upload a copy of the approved resolution. As such, next week I will be asking council for passage of the resolution by emergency in order to meet the deadline set by ODOT. And that concludes my report.
Okay, so that resolution will be on next week.
Yeah, because
Okay,
it came
thank
after
you.
we tried
Yeah. Any questions or comments for Mr. Belair?
The distribution truck that you're wanting to retire, what year is it?
It's 27 years old. So it's a 97, I think?
97.
Or, no.
It'd be 98.
98.
No questions or comments? Thank you. We'll go to Finance Director's report, Ms. Hendricks.
Thank you, Council President. We do have an additional reading for appropriation updates. Those were sent out last week for council to review. As an update on the audit, yes, the audit staff was here on March 10th. No findings or recommendations thus far. The way that process works, it will be after our financial statements are issued and converted through GAAP. That's the final part of the audit after they do the compliance, is to review those statements for accuracy. So we'll probably see a report June, July-ish. It's a normal time frame for that. And the tax budget was sent out on the 31st to council with the associated exhibits. The tax budget does reflect the transfer of $2 million from the general fund as recommended by the administration for 2025 to streets and other projects. And a public hearing is scheduled for May 5th, and a notice has been placed in the photojournal, lost my train of thought. If I think of it.
That it's gonna be on committee next week.
Yes, thank you.
I'm in your brain right now. For a minute.
Ooh, scary spot.
That concludes your report?
Yes, I'm
Very
sorry.
well. No problem. Any questions or comments from members of council? Thank you. City Engineers report, Mr. Howard.
Thank you, Council President. Construction update on the VOL projects. The contractor is currently working on Essex and Parkland. All laterals to the west of Essex are complete. Safe Routes to School project, phase 2, contract is ahead of schedule. They're hoping by the end of this week, weather permitting, to be done with the sidewalk work. And they'll come back and start placing topsoil and seeding and striping. On March 13th, the city had a bid opening for the Sunnyside Road Phase 3 project. 2 bids were received. Buckeye Excavating and Construction, Inc. of Norwalk was the low bidder, with a bid of $1,352,478. The estimate was $1,656,208.60. I ask that council consider passing ordinance 2025-20 by emergency tonight. Once council authorizes the contract, we need to send the award package to ODOT for final authorization. Once ODOT receives the award package, it takes approximately 2 to 3 weeks to receive federal authorization. So the contract starts construction. At next week's council meeting, we'll have the proposal from Kate McCartney for the construction administration and construction inspection services for Sunnyside Road Phase 3. We'll be asking for emergency passage also regarding their contract. And that concludes our report.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from members of the council? I guess I'm wondering if, we're talking 1.3 million. If the council did not pass it by emergency, it would presumably be heard. The third reading would be the first meeting of May. But you're kind of looking at this from a perspective, I'm understanding that that's about a 3.5 week delay on work done for a project for this year. Is that
Well, you're probably, you're at least pushing it out 2 months, because the contractor can't start until federal authorization is received.
Okay.
And that takes, like I said, 2 to 3 weeks once ODOT gets it and sends it to the feds for approval. So,
Okay.
it just delays the project.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. We'll go to our law director's report.
There's no law director's report this evening.
Very well. I have a question. And if you want to defer it to Ms. Anderson, that's fine. Are you aware of any liability that a city council member, any municipal council member or township trustee would have regarding the notices for request for records and inspection of records? A lawsuit that would be filed against the actual members of council. Are you aware of any liability that those members would have?
Mr. President, I'm going to defer
Okay.
to Ms. Anderson.
I would appreciate that.
She has this matter well under control.
Okay, I will speak to her. All right, thank you. We'll go down to, we don't have any old business, do we? Okay. Under new business, we did have the public hearing, so I'm going to make a motion to approve the new and renewal applications for placement of farmland in an agricultural district, all 3 of them. We can do that all in one motion, correct? Okay, so I'm making that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay.
Worley?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Holmes?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, so the reading of the ordinances, first one up is third reading ordinance 2025-9. An ordinance amending ordinance 2024-10 adopted May 13, 2024 in reference to the City of Vermilion Employee and Operational Manual. We have a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-9.
So moved.
I'll second it. Any discussion?
Yeah, this is the one where we're giving up the oversight to the administration on the handbook, correct?
I believe so, obviously, so, yeah.
I'm gonna vote no just for that reason. I mean, I don't think we haven't had a handbook forever. I think the mayor, when he first brought up, this was one of his top priorities when he got into office, and I think it was 7 years later that we finally adopted one. I don't see any reason to give up this oversight. I don't really see us ever needing to use it for any reason. I don't like giving up that oversight for nothing in return, in my opinion. I know one thing that was brought up by Councilman Drew was, just speed things along. There's a lot of things we can do in government to speed things along. I don't think this is one that is needed to happen, so I'm gonna vote no for that reason. I don't see any reason to give up that oversight.
Any other questions or comments? I'll just make the comment, I just think this is one of those situations when it comes to city employees, that the administration is, the mayor's elected and the administration is duly appointed, and people that work under the administration administration are brought through and approved or rejected by council. So that's why I'll be voting yes. Anybody else like to make a comment or just want to go ahead and make the vote?
Just go back to my original statement. I think it's, just makes things a lot smoother and easier for the administration to make those policies and put them out to the employees without having to wait 6 weeks to come in front of council.
Gwen?
Okay, Kyle?
Yes.
Holmes?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
Worley?
No.
Drew?
Yes.
West? Yes. Aaron?
Yes.
Motion carried.
The next item is ordinance 2025-10. I'm going to make a motion to table that ordinance because it is coming up for April 14th Finance Committee. So that's my motion to table ordinance 2025-10, just so we can discuss in the finance.
Second.
Any discussion at this point? So,
Lucas?
Yes.
Drew?
Yes.
West? Yes. Worley?
Yes.
Holmes?
Yes.
Kyle?
Yes.
Aaron?
yes.
Motion carried.
Excuse me. Next one is third reading ordinance 2025-11, an ordinance authorizing all actions necessary to accept Northeast Ohio Public Energy Council, NOPEC, 2025 Energized Community Grant declaring emergency. Motion to adopt ordinance 2025-11 and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion?
Sorry, who seconded that? Brian?
One of those
Thank you.
guys.
Okay. West?
Yes.
Drew?
Yes.
Kyle?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
Holmes?
Yes.
Worley?
No.
Aaron?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Third reading, ordinance 2025-12, an ordinance amending chapter 882.07 entitled Credit for Tax Paid to Other Municipalities of the Vermilion Codified Ordinances and reestablishing a full 1%. We have a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-12.
So moved.
Would it,
We have no discussion at this point. Final motion.
Second.
Okay, very well. Second. Any discussion? Councilman Holmes?
you know, I read over the minutes and everything, again, and we discussed several options for this, and then, obviously, you know, we have folks from Idleview, Birchview here, talk about the condition of the roadways. We have conditions all over the city, roadways, and how this could affect the funding of the roadways in the near future. I would like another opportunity to maybe table this and discuss it a little further. If not, let the balls, you know, see what happens after this vote, but that would be my suggestion to table again, have more further discussion.
We have a motion to adopt, so.
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second, Mayor.
Yeah.
Any other comments for council on this motion to adopt this?
Yeah, I was sort of hesitant in the last vote we made, so if it was possible, we could do this.
You'd like to table it, is that what you're saying? Okay. I'll just make the quick public comment that this is an ordinance that would not only benefit many people, but the reason it was taken away in 2013 and 2016, I'm not totally positive on those years, okay, so write whatever you want about me being wrong about it or trying to hide something, but the fact of the matter is, those decisions were made because I was on council then, because we were in a pretty bad financial situation. We're not in that financial situation at this point. However, we have heard, and everybody up here has heard, about how terrible the roads are. So, you know, the question is really ultimately, are we gonna look at the roads whenever this is done? If we table this, that's fine. But whenever it's decided, it's gonna be balanced, I think, between, frankly, money for the roads, whatever that money is, and respect to our taxpayers who we're all getting hit. We were getting hit before, now we're getting hit now on just inflation. General, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not trying to make a political statement. I'm just saying general inflation issues. So totally respect both sides of that, but I understand where everybody's coming from. But now we have. So I'm sorry, I'll ask the council clerk what would be the procedure at this point. We have a motion to adopt on the floor. We have two council members who are requesting that this be tabled.
So one who moved to make the motion to adopt would have to withdraw their motion, and then the one who seconded it would have to agree. so that would be up to Drew.
I was waiting for you guys to say your part, and then I was gonna speak as the open discussion and have that option of withdrawing that motion. I wouldn't hold it against President Herron for not keeping track on the 2013, 2016, because it's a big hodgepodge as to what's all happened with our income taxes. I mean, I only know it all because I've gone through it a million times. That's when the finance director brought up 2016-61, I knew exactly which ordinance she was talking about. And when she read that quote, I'm very familiar with it. Failed to leave off the next part, which was the next month, 2016-77 ordinance completely changed that one that she quoted. I tried to find in the minutes why it changed. There was nothing in the minutes as to why it was discussed. I went back and conveniently that meeting video is missing. So I'm not sure why they did 77 to change that, but to go back to 2013, the citizens passed a ballot issue. And it had failed multiple times before that. It was a special election just for the roads. If you worked outside of the city, hey, we're gonna give you a credit. We're not gonna charge you for that 0.5%. And that was after it had failed several times without that credit. So finally it passed by not so great of a margin, but the prior times it failed substantially. The administration tried to take that credit away a couple of years back and realized that they couldn't. But in 2016, when this was passed to council, that Councilman Holmes and President Herron were the only two members up here that voted for that. We were in a bad straits with the finances. The prior administration had overspent some money. I'm not going to get into all that either, but what I've said it a ton of times up here that I believe that taxation's theft. And specifically with this one, is you had 7 members that just took it upon themselves that, hey, we're going to take away 0.5% of this tax credit that you guys have had. We're going to take that away and put it towards the roads. I understand the logic there. I get it. What I would suggest doing, obviously, I'm a big proponent of this ordinance. I want to give that credit back to the people. I hear it all the time from everybody about the roads. We've heard here tonight. If you want additional money for the roads, I would suggest, and Councilman Holmes brought this up a couple months back. We spoke on it slightly a bit. I'm not sure if he was at that meeting or not. I didn't mean that as a dig. But what I would suggest is that you bring up a levy, let the voters choose what they want to do with their taxes. I think it was wrong for council in 16 to take away that money. I would like council to give that money back. It seemed like there was a lot of support at the last meeting when I heard about this, and it seems like that might have changed a little bit, which is what I was expecting in the first place. I was surprised at the last meeting to see what kind of support that we had for this, but I would much rather table this and discuss it and something happened than we bring up for a vote and it fails. But we can bring this back up again, but I'm not gonna withdraw this. I'm just gonna leave the motion as is. If it fails, then we can pick it back up some other different way. So my motion still stands.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Al?
Yes.
Holmes? We're voting to adopt this.
Yes, we were voting to adopt.
Did you call my name?
Yep.
I'm sorry, yes.
No.
Lucas?
Yes.
Worley?
Yes.
Drew?
Yes.
West? Aaron?
No.
It passes, and it'll, again, go into effect in 30 days.
Okay. Second reading, ordinance 2025-13, an ordinance amending ordinance 2025-6, adopted March 3rd, 2025, to make appropriations for current expenditures and to amend the 2025 certificate of estimated resources to the city of Vermilion, Ohio. We'll go to a third reading. Second reading, ordinance 2025-14, an ordinance pursuant to section 1240.02 of the codified ordinances of Vermilion, granting a land use zoning variance to Raymond Cassidy in order to allow for a business use zoning variance in the A1 agricultural zoning district located at 2110 Vermilion Road, Vermilion, Ohio. That is going to a third reading and a public hearing scheduled for April 14th at 6:00 p.m. First reading, ordinance 2025-15, an ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Vermilion, Ohio to enter into a contract on behalf of said city with the township of Brownhelm, Lorraine County, Ohio, to provide fire protection for the period of July 1, 2025 through June 30, 2026. Go to a second reading. First reading, ordinance 2025-16, an ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Vermilion, Ohio to enter into an agreement with Game Time Play Corps of Fort Payne, Alabama for the swing package at Shozy Park through the Ohio by State Purchasing Program, authorizing the finance director to make payment in an amount not to exceed $13,500, declaring an emergency.
I believe that, Mark Whitehammer, Parks Director, would like council to consider emergency passage so they can get the equipment ordered and get in for this season.
Would that refer to all of these equipment that I've got?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so, with that, I certainly believe that, okay. So do we have a motion to suspend the rules with respect to ordinance 2025-16 and declaring emergency?
So moved. Second.
West?
Yes.
Drew?
Yes.
Worley?
No.
Lucas?
Yes.
Holmes?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Do we have a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-16 and declaring emergency?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion about the swing package? Yes, Councilor
Just
Worley?
curious where this money is coming from? Which account?
Donations.
Thank you. I had a feeling, just want to make sure.
You want to follow up on that? Are they all donations for this equipment? For this, the next several ordinances?
There is a small portion of Parks Board funding, thank you. But the majority of it is donations.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Just to clarify, the part that's not donation is Parks Board money.
Correct, it's not
Thank you.
general fund.
Right, next. Any other questions, comments? Okay, I keep looking, I don't want to miss anybody. All right. Go ahead.
Ready?
Yeah.
Drew?
Yes.
Worley? Yes. Worley?
No.
West? Lucas?
Yes.
Holmes?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Motion carried.
First reading ordinance 2025-17, an ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Vermilion, Ohio to enter into an agreement with Play World Mid-States Recreation of Pataskala, Ohio for the log climber and a double-decker cone spinner at Shozy Park through the Ohio by State Purchasing Program, authorizing the finance director to make payment in amount not to exceed $36,500 and declaring emergency. Do we have a motion to suspend the rules with respect to ordinance 2025-17, declaring an emergency?
So moved.
I'll second it. Gwen?
Powell?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
Worley?
No.
Drew?
Yes.
West? Yes. Holmes?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Motion carried.
We have a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-17 and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion about this particular item?
I apologize, Gwen, if you had already said, but what was the emergency?
They wanted to get all the equipment in for this season, get it ordered. I don't believe they ordered it, but once this goes through, that way they can get it in.
Just expediency?
The delay is about 4 to 6 weeks out to actually manufacture the equipment and then to have it shipped. So that is the emergency, is to get it in for use this season.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Are we adopting? Yes, go ahead.
Lucas?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
West? Yes. Drew?
Yes.
Worley?
No.
Holmes?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next is first reading ordinance 2025-18, an ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Vermilion, Ohio to enter into agreement with Landscape Structures Pensura LLC of Delano, Minnesota for the purchase of an age 2 to 5 play structure and an age 5 to 12 play structure, flywheel spinner, and 4-seat wee-saw for the Shozy Park Playground through the Ohio by State Purchasing Program, authorizing the finance director to make payment in an amount not to exceed $138,000 and declaring an emergency. We have a motion to suspend the rules with respect to ordinance 2025-18 and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Worley?
No.
Lucas?
Yes.
Holmes?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Drew?
Yes.
West? Yes. Aaron?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. All right. That was a seesaw,
Motion to
all right.
adopt by emergency.
All right, do we have a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-18 and declaring an emergency.
So moved. Second.
Discussion.
Is this all donation as well? This one?
Yes.
So the money can't be used for anything else but this, because it was donated for this project, right?
Correct.
Along with the other ones.
Correct.
So passing it by emergency or not wouldn't change anything. Okay,
Allows it to be ordered soon.
thank you.
Gwen?
Holmes?
Yes.
Wes?
Yes.
Drew?
Yes.
Worley?
No.
Lucas?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next item is first reading ordinance 2025-19, ordinance to approve current replacement date for the Vermilion codified ordinances and declaring an emergency. I'll go to the second reading. The next item is first reading ordinance 2025-20, an ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Vermilion, Ohio, to enter into a contract with Buckeye Excavating and Construction Incorporated of Norwalk, Ohio, for the Sunnyside Road Phase 3 project, authorizing the finance director to make payment to said awardee in an amount not to exceed $1,352,478 and declaring an emergency. Do we have a motion to suspend the rules with respect to ordinance 2025-20 and declaring an emergency?
So moved. Second.
Drew?
Yes.
Wes?
Yes.
Worley?
No.
Lucas?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Holmes?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Motion carried.
First reading ordinance 2025.
Motion passed.
We have a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-20 and declare an emergency.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
What's the emergency?
The administration stated basically they want to send it to ODOT for federal authorization in the next several.
To receive federal funding.
Correct, that was the other thing I wanted to bring up real quick. This is a 80-20 split with a maximum federal funding of $1,030,491. Federal thing, state thing.
Any other questions, comments? Go ahead.
Wes? Al?
No.
Drew?
Yes.
Worley?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
Holmes?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. First reading ordinance 2025-21. The administration does not need these by emergency, or I'm sorry, by reading. I didn't hear it. I didn't make a note that the administration needed this one.
Unless council wants to build any other projects this year, that's the only emergency.
I would agree.
It's in the bottom of the ordinance.
Okay, thank you. All right. First reading ordinance 2025-21, an ordinance to officially supplement the minimum contractual services to be performed by Bramhall Engineering and Surveying Company by virtue of ordinance 2018-5, adopted January 2nd, 2018, by authorizing professional engineering and surveying services related to the OPWC, Ohio Public Works, funded High Bridge Road Reconstruction Phase 3 project, prescribing that the firm shall be paid for additional services in accordance with the rate schedule set forth in the proposal dated January 3rd, 2018, a total amount not to exceed $60,469 and declaring an emergency. Do we have a motion to suspend the rules with respect to ordinance 2025-21?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Wes?
Yes.
Drew?
Yes.
Worley?
No.
Lucas?
Yes.
Holmes?
Yes.
Al?
No.
Aaron?
Yes.
Motion carried.
We have a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-21 and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
I'll second it. Councilman,
Brian?
any discussion regarding this project?
The administration's not asking for it by emergency, correct?
That is correct.
So it'll get started on time, everything will be done on schedule without it?
So the only one I would be worried about is High Bridge Road. Phase 3. The other three, that's your discretion. Haley's not gonna be built until next year, after the police station's done.
Fire station.
The fire station.
No, police station.
Police station.
We did the fire station.
Any other questions, comments? Gwen?
Holmes?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
Drew?
Yes.
Worley?
No.
Wes?
Yes.
Al?
No.
Aaron?
Yes.
Motion carried.
The next Next item, first reading ordinance 2025-22, an ordinance to officially supplement the minimum contractual services to be performed by Graham Hall Engineering and Surveying Company by virtue of ordinance 2018-5, adopted January 2nd, 2018, by authorizing professional engineering and surveying services related to the OPWC funded Haley Street reconstruction project, prescribing that the firm shall be paid for additional services in accordance with the rate schedule set forth in the proposal dated January 3rd, 2018. The total amount not to exceed $75,239. We don't have anybody have a motion to suspend the rules with
I don't have
respect
the
to this?
emergency clause on that. He doesn't need it till next year.
Fair enough. That'll go to second reading, first reading ordinance 2025-23. An ordinance to officially supplement the minimum contractual services to be performed by Graham Hall Engineering and Surveying Company by virtue of ordinance 2018-5, adopted January 2nd, 2018, by authorizing professional engineering and surveying services related to the Pine View Drive reconstruction project, describing that the firm shall be paid for additional services in accordance with the rate schedule set forth in the proposal dated January 3rd, 2018. The total amount not to exceed $95,500 and declaring an emergency. Anybody feel the need to make a motion to suspend the rules with respect to ordinance 2025-23?
So moved.
Is there a second? So there's no second to that motion, so it'll go to second reading. First reading, ordinance 2025-24, an ordinance to officially supplement the minimum contractual services to be performed by Graham Hall Engineering and Surveying Company by virtue of ordinance 2018-5, adopted January 2nd, 2018, by authorizing professional engineering and surveying services related to the Crown Helm Station Road reconstruction project, prescribing that the firm shall be paid for additional services in accordance with the rate schedule set forth in the proposal dated January 3rd, 2018, an amount not to exceed $99,500 and declaring an emergency. We have a motion to suspend the rules with respect to ordinance 2025-24. That will go to a second reading. First reading, ordinance 2025-25, an ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Vermilion, Ohio to enter into an agreement with Rush Truck Centers of Cincinnati, Ohio for the new international truck chassis for the Vermilion Street Department through the Sourcewell State Purchasing Program, authorizing the finance director to make payment in an amount not to exceed $116,566 and declaring an emergency. We have a motion to suspend the rules with respect to ordinance 2025-25 and declaring an emergency. I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second.
West?
Yes.
Howe?
Yes.
Drew?
Yes.
Worley?
No.
Lucas?
Yes.
Holmes?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Motion carried.
With a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-25 and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
I'll second it. Any discussion regarding this?
I have some discussion.
Yep, go ahead.
I believe it was probably discussed while I was late. I was listening in. Thank you, Vermilion Daily. This is a 27-year-old truck that's going to be replaced. This is the truck that's, or is that the next one?
That's the next one.
This is what?
2002, replaces a 2002.
All right. Does this one have tariffs added to it for the price?
It's already had $3,900 added to it and probably more to come from what.
And that was going to be my question, because obviously my full-time job is also in the government sector, and what we're finding the last week is purchase orders that we put in December and January are coming back at 25 to 30% increases already. And a little bit of a sticker shock when something that's $100,000 even comes back at a 4% or 5% tariff. So are we better off riding this thing out for a couple months and see where all these tariffs sort of land? I'm not comfortable spending this kind of money right now on all of these ordinances, when all these tariffs could be going away in 6 months, 3 months, 2 weeks, who knows, right? So I suggest that we ride this out maybe at 60 days and revisit.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, when I heard the service director, I believe earlier, is when they asked for all of these to be by emergency and gave the reasons, the first thing I did is did the quick math, and we're just shy of $500,000 to be done by emergency on first reading. And we know I have a huge issue with that. I hope you're right in the tariffs, that whole thing shake out. I think we're in for a ride there, but I would not be opposed to waiting. Honestly, I think anyone knows that I'm gonna vote no on the emergency to begin with, but, yeah, it's hard for me to vote for almost $500,000 by emergency on first reading.
My 2 cents on it. We just got another new truck in, salt truck, and Tony, I talked to you about this in brief here in the last week or so. And I think we're in pretty decent shape with having one outdated truck right now. We have what, 4 newer plow trucks now? 3 with the new one, so we have one outdated one, makes 4.
2000s. yeah,
Sure. I mean, there's trucks running the roads right now from the 80s and 90s with 1,000,001 miles, 1.5 million miles on them. And the trucks that we have in the city don't have near that.
Right.
And I know the salt eats them up and stuff, but I kind of share the same sentiment of what, Councilman Drew's talking about. In the times that we're in, it's a lot of money, just push snow around, I know it's needed. What if we don't get any snow next year? Now we're sitting on a couple $100,000 worth of trucks that don't get used. So I'm not opposed to waiting on this, and same go out of comments on the next 2 too, but next 3. Well, the next one is in conjunction with this one, yeah. So that's just my 2 cents. If we're gonna vote on any, or if we're gonna vote to get any of them right now, I think the salt truck's the more important of the 2. It doesn't sound like it'll have the traction to do it.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily against buying the trucks for the city. If I trust that you need them. You typically don't ask for things, you never ask for things you don't need. So it's not a matter of, I don't think our city needs the trucks. I'm just really concerned about the increase in tariffs, and we spend all this money now, and then we find out in 60 days that those go away, and we're locked in, and we're spending $20,000 more than we would have. And I do also, I am a little bit concerned about the snowplow. I think, like you said, if we don't get a lot of snow next year, we spend a couple $100,000 for a truck to sit. So I would just like to maybe wait 60 days and see where the market goes and, what the future looks like a little bit.
Councilman West?
I have a question on the timeline. If we approve this, how long does it take till you actually order these and they come about? Do we have to start paying then?
If they're approved, I'll order them tomorrow.
Okay.
And then 4 to 5 months right now for the chassis. And then for the salt, or the snow and ice outfitting, that's about at least a year right now is what they're looking at.
So if we were to approve this, you'd have to pay for it right away, or do you pay for when they come in?
We pay for it when it comes in.
So it really wouldn't interfere with any budget at this point, correct?
We locked it at a price.
Block it out, but you wouldn't have to be setting anything.
Yeah, we're already paying, there's already a tariff added to the price in here, and what I've experienced last week, or it was last week, purchase orders that we have entered into agreement with, they're coming back and saying, sorry guys, there's a 25% increase now. Do you want the product, or you're stuck and now you gotta pay more? And it already sounds like from the administration that there could be additional tariffs added to this. And we don't know what that's gonna be. So I just think we should wait and ride it out a little bit. I don't think it's something that we need tomorrow.
Yeah, just the last thing I'll say on this is, we don't know that the price could go up, it could go down. The only thing it sounds like is definite is we will not have this truck before we need it for snow next year.
You're right.
So I don't see any reason, we're gonna roll the dice as far as whether it goes up or down with the tariffs, but it's not like we have 0 trucks, this is going to be our only truck and we're gonna get it in November right before snow. If not, we're destitute. That's not the case here, so. Thank you.
So we do have to, we're gonna go ahead and call the roll, and then keep in mind if it fails, then we might wanna proceed through the next 4 in a similar manner. If the council simply as a collective group is saying no, which that's fine. Okay, so go ahead, Glenn.
Riley?
No.
Drew?
No.
West?
Yes.
Holmes,
No.
Powell,
No.
Aaron.
Yes. All right,
Motion failed.
so having failed, I guess, from just a realistic perspective, we may want to suspend the rules with respect to the next three, and then just vote on it, okay? Go ahead.
I just wanna make a comment that the distribution truck chassis 4 to 5 months, but I don't have a timeline for Concord to get the stainless steel bed, but I know that their weight is very minimal. So, I mean, that truck, in other words, that truck can be used right away. Unlike, Mr. Councilman Worley brought up the scenario that, a salt truck, we wouldn't be able to use it this year anyways.
Okay.
But a distribution truck, we could use right away.
Now, is that, guess I'm,
It's 28.
well, 27 and 28 are the distribution trucks, okay. Okay, I got you, all right, so let's just, all right. First reading, ordinance 2025-26, an ordinance authorizing the director of the mayor of the city of Vermilion, Ohio to enter into an agreement with Henderson Products Incorporated of Bucyrus, Ohio for the snow and ice package for the Vermilion Street Department truck through the Sourcewell Purchasing Program, authorizing the finance director to make payment in an amount not to exceed $138,044 and declaring an emergency. We have a motion to suspend the rules with respect to ordinance 2025-26 and declaring an emergency. Having no motion, that will go to a second reading. Next item is first reading, ordinance 2025-27, ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Vermilion, Ohio to enter into an agreement with Rush Truck Centers of Cincinnati, Ohio for the new international truck chassis for the Vermilion Distribution Department through the Sourcewell Purchasing Program, authorizing the finance director to make payment in an amount not to exceed $117,922.92 and declaring an emergency. We have a motion to suspend the rules with respect to ordinance 2025-27. All right, hearing no motion, that ordinance will go to a second reading. First reading, ordinance 2025-28, an ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Vermilion, Ohio to enter into an agreement with Concord Road Equipment Manufacturing of Mentor, Ohio for the dump body package for the Vermilion Distribution Department truck, authorizing the finance director to make payment in an amount not to exceed $69,220.70 and declaring an emergency. A motion to suspend the rules with respect to ordinance 2025-28, declaring an emergency. That will go to a second reading. Third reading, resolution 2025-R-2, a resolution agreeing to cooperate for the purpose of providing aqua run water slide splash feature and exit slide pad at the Vermilion Community Pool under the terms and conditions of the 2025 Local Park Capital Improvement Grant declaring emergency. We have a motion to adopt resolution 2025-R-2 and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Yes, Councilman Worley.
Just curious what the emergency is.
We need the grant deadline with this.
Questions, comments regarding this item? Sounds fun. All right, Quinn?
Powell,
Yes.
West. Yes. Drew,
Yes.
Worley,
Yes.
Lucas,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Aaron.
Yes.
Motion carried.
First reading, resolution 2025-R-4, a resolution to approve the 2026 tax budget and certifying it to the County Budget Commission. This matter will go to a second reading, and a public hearing will be held on May 5th, 2025, at 6 o'clock p.m. First reading, resolution 2025-R-5, a resolution authorizing the city of Vermilion, Ohio to enter into a partnership agreement with Erie County, Ohio as the partner and to authorize the Erie County Commissioners as the grantee to administer and implement the PY 2025 Community Housing Impact and Preservation Partnership Agreement as funded by the Ohio Development Services Agency, Office of Community Enhancements, and declaring an emergency. Do we have a motion to suspend the rules with respect to resolution 2025-R-5 and declaring an emergency?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Powell,
Yes.
Worley,
No.
Drew,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Lucas,
Yes.
Aaron.
Yes.
Motion carried.
We have a motion to adopt resolution 2025-R-5 and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
What's the emergency?
What's the emergency?
Sooner we can get help to people with low income and repair their houses.
I think that the sooner this is implemented, that it helps and benefits people of Erie County, that would be recipients and beneficiaries of the CHIP grant.
Yeah.
This is federal money that's passed down to the states for administration, which is passed down to the counties for administration. It's administered in our case by Erie County. It's a house rehab for people with low incomes, who qualify basically under the HUD rules, how many people in their house, how total cumulative income and things like that. It can even be used for things like a total roof. And one of the big beneficiaries of this is the people with lower income. I think last year, and last time it was used, which was 2021, Vermilion was the second highest in the counties to be a participant. A lot of people in VOL use it, repair roofs. And there is a temporary lien against the house while this is being applied, so somebody doesn't just apply for this under low income, fix the house, flip it, and resell it at a profit. It has to be held for 5 years, so there's no shenanigans going on. And as I say, the big, we can push this out to the people while the weather's still good to get them to participate in this, to request it. We can replace furnaces, like I said, control roofs. My question to them is, could it possibly also help replace laterals in places like VOLs for low-income people between the street and the house when it's determined that one is in need of replacement? It's applicable to sanitary. I'm just making sure that it could apply to laterals, but it's a big, big benefit for people in our community who really need help, and I'd like to get it to them sooner than later.
This will benefit, if you just said this, I apologize, I had my mind on something else. But this will benefit the Lorraine County residents as well?
Both sides. Well, I did not explain it, so you're correct in asking.
Okay.
Yes, both sides, both counties.
So we're not, you mentioned VOL, obviously that's the Lorraine County.
Right, someone elsewhere in the Erie County, yes, Lorraine County and Erie County. VOL was one of the big participants last time.
Has Erie County already secured the grant?
I'm sorry?
Has Erie County already secured the grant? Or are they applying for it?
They've applied for it, it's a matter of organizing how to distribute it.
So they got money?
They have money, but.
Okay. Do we know how much is gonna be allocated towards Vermilion, or is it?
Well, it's not allocated, it's on a use application. Last year, last time, which was 2021, I believe $300,000 was used in Vermilion.
It's a first come, first served sort of situation?
First qualified, first served, yeah.
We need to get that information out to our residents then as soon as possible.
Yes, we do, because many would benefit.
Yeah.
I have a question on who would provide the services. I mean, is it just open to general contractors? My father benefited from a program like this in Mentor, but the people that provided the services, it was so shoddy.
Can you wait till either after the meeting? I'm sure the administration has an answer, and unfortunately under our rules, we don't.
I'm sorry.
tend to do that. That's okay, that's okay.
It was concerning at the time.
Absolutely.
I would hate to see somebody in a similar situation where then they're stuck in the house with garbage windows, so.
I'm just as excited for this grant as you are, so.
If I may add to my comments, anyone who has a question from the public can give me a call.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, call the roll.
Lucas?
Yes.
Holmes?
Yes.
Worley?
No.
Drew?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
West? Yes. Aaron?
Yes.
Motion carried.
So, that concludes tonight's meetings. We have, April 14th, we have a public hearing, committee meetings, and a special city council meeting at 6 o'clock p.m. Have a good evening, thank you.
When I want to say thank you for being on your wrong year. When I was young, I appreciate it.